And they say, all right, we're on. Yellow, everyone. This is a massive edition of Tuga Tuesdays. This is a Tuga Sundays today because we're a special edition of the show because, of course, it's the Derby da Capital. Yes, at Estadio de Luz, Benfica versus Sporting. Massive game today. I think from my POV, as I always say, I think this is the first time in many years with Sporting, where Sporting is the favorite to win the derby, including the one that they won when they won the championship in 2021. Because I believe that year the Benfica that was in a better position, in a better state of soccer mind when they face the Lions. Mr. Mike Naustino, Mr. Benfica, when I kick off with you because
All right.
you're the host at the news today. And how you feeling today, Mike? Tell me about the nerves, the anxiety.
Well,
You took
yeah,
your
well,
Prozac. Tell me.
I see the 11, and we're going with the basically same exact team that just got run over on Wednesday, which Wednesday didn't surprise me that much. A lot of other people were surprised. I wasn't because Sociedad are phenomenal. But
Yeah.
but then I look down the substitutes list, and I'm like, well, really, what else are you going to do? I mean, you don't have outside backs. They're just not available. So it's three at the back. I don't think he's got much of a choice there. He's still going with Florentino and João Mario as the double pivot. I've been advocating for Florentino to play. I think everyone else plays better when he's there.
All right.
It's asking a lot of João Mario to play in that role, but again, you don't have Kokshu.
Right.
And you're using Joe Neves out wide, so who else are you going to put there? I mean, it's one of those you're just going to have to – if Benfica are going to do something today, they got to gut it out. They have to get tough, and they have to gut it out, and they can't be too married to a philosophy. They got to see what the game's going to give them and take their chances when they come. That said, I don't think it's as far of a long shot as everyone else does either. There's still a lot of individual quality in this team. Even if form isn't there, quality is still there. And I've said it, when the roles are reversed and we're heavily favored and Sporting's coming in these derbies, you can throw that away because I think these are games that stand alone by themselves and they can exist in a vacuum and form. I don't think we'll have a lot to do with this match. So whichever team comes out here for 90 minutes and plays better is probably going to win this game.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to throw the 11 for Sporting. We got Adan under the pipes. We got Diomande, Coates, Inacio, Royce on the left, this guy on the right, Morita and Hillman, they'll pivot, and Pochi, Edwards, Marquitos, and the Swedish assassin, Mr. Victor Jokeridge. What do you think of that 11, Mr. Zach Lowe? How you doing today?
Hey, doing very well, man. Great to be here, and very excited for the upcoming Clásico. I think as far as Sporting's 11, not too many surprises. I do think that similarly to Benfica, the wingbacks are probably the biggest Achilles heel, if there is one. The biggest difference is Benfica have really only been using this back three for like a few games, it seems like.
Three.
Whereas Sporting have been using it, since Ruben Amorim took charge. And I've never really recognized Benfica as a back three kind of team. Like I remember when George Jesus was trying it out in the final days of his term, and it didn't really work out for him. But yeah, I think that with regards to this match, I don't think there's a ton separating Benfica and Sporting. I do think that it's going to be a very physical match and one where individual mistakes are going to be punished, and one where efficiency in the final third is going to be just so massive. So I think that with regards to Sporting, they have Victor Gyökeres, a player who is just so gifted, so physically apt, and is always ready to go into a physical challenge and use his pace and movement to get in behind defenses So I do think that going with a back three, it's almost like a bit counterintuitive because you see that there are three center backs, and you assume, okay, well, that's be a more defensively sound lineup. But oftentimes it actually doesn't work like that, especially
Right.
when you are going with, when you're still learning the cogs of the system. So I do have my concerns as to, like, are Benfica going to be able to hold their own outside of possession? Because they really, I think they've struggled a lot defensively. I think that there's so much quality in this team going forward. With eights like Joao Neves and Kokshu, and wingers such as Di Maria. I know that Davi Neres is out, but I just am a bit concerned. Like, do Benfica have what it takes to put in a backs to the wall kind of performance here? Because I frankly think that's kind of going to be the only way they get a result here. And a similar result to that 2-0 win, I believe, against Sporting back in 2022, where they got an early goal and were
Right.
really good at soaking up pressure. So yeah, I guess my biggest concern is, like, Petar Musa, a player who's done very well as a super sub. Is he going to have what it takes to go pound for pound with Victor Gyökeres, a player who I firmly believe has what it takes to be one of the best strikers in football, as well as how is Benfica going to handle this situation with, going with kind of an unnatural formation? I believe that Joao Neves and Arsenis are going to be the wing back. So yeah, I'm not too sure.
All right, all right. Now you mentioned that the attacking aspect of Benfica. I'm gonna focus on what Ruben Amorim did the last time they played here in the Primera Liga when we were still Amadora, taking out the Coaches and Mateus Royce, and they put in San Just and Gonzalo Ignacio. Do you think what's his name? Albert, do you think this that I mean, what's it? Zach mentioned that the only way that Benfica could win this game is putting Sport against the wall. But if that happens and they've been outplayed and they've been outrun, you've seen Buenamorin pulling the same substitutions like the way he did last time with Estrella Amadora.
I'm not sure. I think Amorim. I think this is Amorim's preferred centre back trio, and I think he will keep all three of those players on the pitch if he can, because although Senjus does offer something that none of the other Sporting centre backs can, I think Diamant has been in great form. I think Inacio has been in great form, and I think Quats is the sort of leader you have to play in this type of game. So I think, if possible, Ruben Amorim will not change any centre back in this game. I think the interesting move for me in the Sporting back line is Mateus Reis starting left wing back. I know Nuno Santos hasn't been amazing, but even a Nuno Santos who's not in amazing form, for me is a preferred pick at left wing back in a big game against Benfica over Mateus Reis, who I don't think has shown in a long time much to make anyone think that he's really, really up to this level. And I think Nuno Santos has just that. He's a bit of a nutcase, and I think in a game like this, you need that kind of character, someone whose mentality will almost override their form. So I think that for me in the Sporting defence is more of a problem position than any of the centre backs. In fact, I think those three centre backs are a very solid pick for me.
Mike, if we're going pound for pound, all right, we're going to go pound for pound in offense. Who do you think has the edge? I mean, the momentum for Gyökeres, Pochi, and Edwards is just fantastic, right? The one for Benfica, the attacking trio for Benfica, not so much. But are you expecting Benfica to bounce back and to put up a tremendous fight versus the attacking trio of Sporting?
Well, it's going to be a tough one because the form that the Sporting guys have is clearly a higher form right now. Still got Di Maria in there, and he shows up in these games, so he can make the difference. He did it, in the last Clásico against the northern rivals. He showed up with the one chance, and he used it. Neres being out, obviously, that's firepower missing. Like Zach said, I'm not still convinced on Musa as a starter. I like him off the bench. I'm not convinced when he starts. I think he's much more productive coming off the bench. I even think Cabral was starting to gauge and starting to trend a little bit into the right direction. So I'm not so sure that I agree with dropping him at this point. But pound for pound right now, I think Sporting's the better team in the front three right now, especially given the injuries and given the lack of form in the Benfica front three.
Now, Roger Schmidt put already his super sub as a starter today.
Yeah.
In Shaq, the bench for Benfica. I'm looking at the names, and I am not so sure who will be the super sub for Benfica today if they need him. Who do you think will be who will you use to be as a super sub today if the things get ugly with Sporting, Mr. Zach Lowy?
I haven't checked the bench yet. Let me pull it up right here.
I'm gonna read it up for you, all right?
Okay.
Thiago Gouveia, Gonzalo Guedes, Samuel Suarez, well, the goalkeeper, Jurasek, Tommy Araujo, Chiquinho, Arthur Cabral, Casper Tengsted, and Joao Victor. My answer is none, but you can answer.
Yeah, I mean, there really aren't too many players who, if I assume that we're going to reach the 60th minute and Sporting are going to be ahead. And looking at that bench, there really aren't too many subs who can come on and make a huge difference. I will say though, I like my boy Thiago Gouveia.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
At Estoril Praia, he's
Hopefully he gets a chance, man.
so capable of making an impact on either wing, and I don't see why this can't be a great opportunity for him to show Roger Schmidt what he's been missing. But as far as the other players, it's hard because this is not necessarily a new look Benfica, but a lot of those players just don't really have that much experience. Obviously, you've got Portugal international like Gonzalo Guedes, but I'm not even sure if he's played this season. Has
little bits.
Yeah,
off the bench.
Remember him doing anything out of the ordinary since renewing his loan. So I just don't know if he has the fitness for that. But as far as the other players go, I mean, Arthur Cabral, yeah, it's approaching. I don't want to say it's approaching now or never for him, but it's when are things going to start going for him? And I think that center forward position is probably the biggest question mark in this Benfica team, right? Is it Cabral? Is it Musa? Is it Tengsted? Yeah. Is it none of the above? I know that Schmidt has tried out a false nine before, but I think that, yeah, I mean, as far as the others go, okay, Tomas Araujo, he had a decent loan spell at Gil Vicente. Once again, though, I don't know if he played a tremendous amount. I think there was a lot of speculation he was going to go out on loan. So, I mean, I guess hypothetically, Araujo could come in and replace, Silva or Morato or Otamendi if they picked up a booking. But with that being said, that's also kind of asking for trouble to put a player who just doesn't have that much experience with Benfica, doesn't have any experience at playing a Clásico, and going up against the likes of Pedro Gonçalves, Victor Gyökeres, and Marcus Edwards. So yeah, I just think that there's not too much in terms of super subs, which is why it's absolutely vital for Benfica to stay in this game and to stay level. And yeah, they're gonna have a tough time doing so. But I think that what it's gonna come down to, like I said, will their big players be able to step up? Right, this game needs a goal from Di Maria. It needs a big performance from Rafa Silva, a player who, yeah, is kind of streaky, pretty inconsistent, but I do think that he thrives in big games. But yeah, this season it's been a mess. There's no other way to put it. Yeah. I mean, people have accused me of being a Sporting fan, a Benfica fan, Porto fan. I'm just a Portuguese football fan, but say, seeing Benfica put together such an incredible season last campaign, and to where we are right now, where they're pretty much out of European competition, and the league is slipping away from them. They need a big result. It doesn't have to be a win. It could be a point, but they need to send a message here.
Now, Albert, once Sporting won the championship, everybody was everybody was asking, was wondering, or just wait for the next season because they're gonna play in Europe, and it's gonna be a different story. Now they're playing Europe from the get-go this season, and they're they're second place in the Europa League. They only lost one game, and now they haven't dropped a single loss in the domestic competition. Did they find the balance to be an overall super strong team to win the championship this year? As predicted, they're going to win. As said in round 3 that they are going to win the championship. Please, Benfica fans, don't hate me, especially Mike. But I said this. I think they're going to be the winners of the Premier League this year. But what do you think, Albert?
I think they've got as good a squad now as they had in the year they won the championship. And I think the thing that championship winning year was that starting 11 was so well balanced. Every player in every position was perfect. And although I wouldn't quite say that this year, I think this guy at right wing back isn't quite perfect, and obviously isn't the player that Pedro Porro was. They're much closer to that championship winning team where they just had a balance in every position, and every player was really well suited to the role that they were trying to do. Actually, I felt like the following season they were okay at that, but obviously lost 1 or 2 key players. I mean, you asked Zach about the Benfica bench. I'm looking at the Sporting bench, and I think the quality that they have on the bench is quite exciting. Like I said, Jesus obviously had injury problems, but we know that he's a good player and he offers something different at centre back. Nuno Santos, again, not in great form, but a player who won the league with Sporting and has been a great servant to them over the years. They've got players like Trincao on the bench, Paulinho's on the bench, Bragança's been playing well. So I think it's not just about the fact that they've refound balance in the starting 11, but also that the squad depth, I think, is much improved. Of course, still areas that they need to improve on, but I think it's getting much closer to the type of balanced squad with a little bit of squad depth that they had in the title-winning seasons. And I think the Europa League, without wanting to sound patronising, for me is a good level for them, and I would say a good level for any Portuguese club, because it means that the group stage is not too taxing, which is obviously a key part of the season. But the knockout stages will still give you some big games against big teams. So I think, things look good. I'm not going to quite join you, Nino, and give my prediction just yet. But things are looking very good. The team looks balanced. They've got good depth. We've seen that when 1 or 2 players get injured, they've got players who can come in. And I think it's a very healthy place for them to be in.
Absolutely. Now we'll mention with Benfica the bench situation, players that are not in form situation. But Mike, how much how much of a toll is going to take in the season not having Neres, Kokshu, and Alexander Ba?
Well, I mean, not having when Kokshu was playing, everyone was complaining he wasn't doing enough, right? And we were getting chances upon chances. Our XG was way up there because he's creating the opportunities for the other guys. And as soon as he fell out of the lineup, now we're struggling to get a goal a game. And you can see sometimes it's not always the assists and the goals. It's the pass that comes before that makes the difference. And I think that's what we're missing with Kokshu. And we still haven't seen him in his true position, in my opinion. He's a 10, where he played for Feyenoord, behind the striker, where Rafa's been playing all season. And with Rafa's form where it was, I was hoping to see Kokshu get a chance in that position. But, of course, he picked up the injury. So that's not an option. It's that for me is the biggest loss. But again, not having Ba and being forced to use Dronevj as a right back, you can call it. It's kind of a hybrid position where he's kind of a back, but he's also kind of an outside midfield, an outside central midfielder in a diamond. It becomes, you're starting to ask guys all to do more than just one job, and they're starting. It can get confusing very quickly, and like we saw again against Sociedad, where Should I be there? Should I be here? You have Zhronev tucking in, next to the center back on one of those goals, and Bonanchea just, puts one touch inside and then buries it into the far post because he was tucked in and there was nobody covering that channel out there. So, I mean, it's going to be Benfica got to get the ball. That's the first thing. So, because they're going to be less exploited that way. And I mean, hopefully, playing at home, they're going to be up. They're going to have a statement to make today. They have to answer for the last couple of performances. And if they want to relieve the pressure, if they want to get the supporters off their backs, because the supporters have been just absolutely, in my opinion, over the top brutal. And I don't mean that in a good way. I'm frustrated with the support as much as I am with the team on the pitch. But I mean, today is a chance to kind of start it over. I mean, because as bad as it's been, a win today, top of the table. End of story. Yeah. Top of the table. Okay. With going into an international break and a chance to regroup. So it's almost like a final today in a way. Like Zach said, a loss today, will be detrimental, because then 6 points is quite a hill to climb in this league where the top teams don't drop a lot of points. We've talked about Benfica. We've talked about Porto also not playing well, but getting the points every week, whether they played well or not. They went through 7-8 rounds without dropping points. So even playing poorly, you have to get points in this league. So to fall 6 behind, it's going to be very, very hard to make that up, especially, with Sporting playing the way they are, and they're not in the Champions League. Not that that's going to make a big difference in terms of fatigue, but they have the ability to rest players if they need to, I think, in the group stage of the Europa League. And when they move on, I mean, at that stage, we're talking about the spring. Who knows where the league table is going to be and what type of really fixture congestion that's really going to create. We don't know for months. But yeah, this match almost feels like a final, and they have to be ready to play a final today. And a draw is no one's going to be happy with it, but mathematically speaking, that keeps everything where it is, which I'm going to take that over dropping 6 points behind, obviously, at this stage. But I think, someone in that midfield has to become the big string puller today. Who it's going to be, I don't know.
Mike, you're making me nervous, man. I'm anxious now because of I can feel you, man. I can feel your anxiety, man.
It's something they're just going to have to do. They're just going to have to come out and play the game and not overthink it, not worry so much about it. And the manager's got few limited. I think Thiago Villa is someone that's got to be used today. He should have been. When he was brought in against Inter in the late part of that game, he actually created a couple opportunities on the dribble. He got into the area and he drove a few balls across the face of goal. I'd like to see him today at some point. And then somebody has to be the goal scorer, whether it's Musa, whether it's Cabral if he comes on, whether it's Tinkstedt if he comes on, Gonçalo Guedes, Di Maria. Somebody's got to take the responsibility to put the ball in the back of the net, because it can't stay 0-0. That's one thing, because as the game goes on, the options get more and more limited, and you're going to be less likely to catch Sporting on the break as the match wears on, because they can live with the draw also. So the further into the match we go, I think the less chances they're going to take as well, which is going to provide less opportunity to exploit some kind of counterattack or something like that. So the first 20, 25 minutes could be crucial, and I think Benfica have to come out the way they have sometimes and gotten an early one and really set the tone early, because if they want to wait this one out, I think it's going to go in a direction they don't want to go. That's
interesting that you mentioned those first 20, 25 minutes setting up the tone, because I believe that the team that is going to do that is going to try to impose their will in the first 20, 35 is going to be the visitors. And I want to see if Benfica are going to be able to react in time, with enough time, if they're falling behind on the scoreboard the way they did with Real Sociedad. So, Zach, you think that if Benfica falls into the situation that they were with Real Sociedad, you think they're going to be able to turn around the game in the second half on 50 minutes into the game? What do you think?
I mean, I just think that from the Real Sociedad game, it was kind of like, it could have been a lot worse. I think the score.
Yeah.
And
They missed a penalty too, you know.
Yeah. And they had 2 called off for offside.
Giving away too many easy chances. So yeah, Benfica, they just need to get their confidence back, and they're only going to be able to do that with some results. I think right now they're kind of facing an identity crisis, right? Having so much success with that 4-2-3-1, now being forced to shift into a 3-man back line due in part to Alexander Ba's injury, as well as plenty of other absences, due in part to their failure to secure a quality replacement for Alex Grimaldo. So yeah, this is a Benfica team that's in flux, and I think that while I wouldn't beat themselves up, I wouldn't beat myself up too much if I was a Benfica fan and I saw my team losing to Sporting, who apart from Gyökeres, this team has a lot of experience playing together, I think. But ultimately, we need to see a more coherent performance from Benfica. We need to see a lot more energy and synergy off the ball. We need to see a team performance. That's what we've been lacking. So I think that a lot of pressure on a player like João Neves operating outside of his natural position at right wing back, and a lot of pressure on Morato as well. Playing and starting in a big game. But I do think that Benfica, if they can just get a point from this game, that is going to do wonders for their confidence. So yeah, we shall see. But yeah, I'm very excited for this one. Going to have to go now, unfortunately, guys. But yeah, this was a great talk with you, Albert, and Mike, and Nino, of course. But yeah, did you want anything else from me before I go, Nino?
No, actually, I want to wrap it up because I gotta go upstairs to the studio. But I want to hear your predictions, guys. Give me your prediction, Albert. Let's go for it.
Oh wow, okay. I'm gonna go 2-2. I think there'll be goals, but I think there will be enough to separate the two teams.
2-2. I love it.
I'm gonna
Mike, what do you think?
2-1 to Benfica. Gonna go up 2-0. Gonna
2-1
be 2-1 and hang on for dear life after that.
I think I.
All right, Zach, what do you think?
2-1 to Sporting. I'm gonna say Pedro Gonçalves, Gyökeres, and let's go with Otamendi. Why not? I don't know if any of your strikers are gonna come in with a goal, so I'll go with Ota for a goal here.
All right. I said 2-1 Sporting, Pat Morita, Gyökeres, and for Benfica, I think it's gonna be what's his name, Peter Parker. Peter Parker striking today for the Eagles. And with that, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm gonna go upstairs, do the sound check and everything else. And all right. Good luck to the teams.
Match,
good luck. Because I don't have a side. I know Mike has a side. Albert and I, we love something.
Yeah. Enjoy the match, guys.
Make the best to win. Make the best to win. All right, guys. See you. Bye-bye.
See you later.